Yolan gang, this is a heavily requested video. We're going to be talking about what degree I did, what university I went to, and I am going to go through all the modules I did and what results I got for each, because yeah, a lot of you guys are asking about maths degrees. I guess I'm giving it away. I did do a maths degree. And at the end, I'll do a little Q&A. Some of you guys have been sending more questions, and without further ado, I've dusted off my old certificates. It's still in black and white, innit? And I'm just gonna go through them one by one. So it all started in 2012, and I went to a university called UCL, University College London in London, which at the time was the 4th best uni in the world. You can see the screenshot here. And I think now, based on the QS World Rankings, which is the only one that matters, to be honest, you see the other ones which say, like, I don't know. I'm not going to bait out these other newspapers, but they have incentives. So QS World Rankings is actually very unbiased. So yeah, I studied at UCL, did a full maths degree. In that time, I studied 24 modules, and I'm gonna go through them one by one. So, starting with first year. This was the biggest culture shock for me. Analysis 1. Anybody who has studied a maths degree will know about analysis. It was the biggest shock to my system ever, because you're going from A-level maths to degree level maths, where you're doing all these proofs, divergence theorem. You're basically doing axioms, and you're thinking, what does theorem, what do corollaries, all of these things even mean? This is like the nitty gritty of maths. Analysis 2. It only went downhill. So, by the way, if you didn't know already, anything that is 70% is regarded as a first class level, which is the highest level you can attain. Between 60 and 70 is a 2-1. Between 50 and 60 is a 2-2. And then anything below that, I guess we shouldn't really care about. Now, I can't really remember what was in analysis 2, but it didn't go so well for me. I got 56%, which is a 2-2. And I'll talk a bit more about my first year once I've read out all of the first year situation, but there were some incidents that happened to me, which I'll explain later on. The next one was Algebra 1. So Algebra 1 was actually a lot more, I would say, it's basically linear algebra. You're doing Gaussian elimination. This is the first time I was actually introduced to Gaussian elimination, which I do a lot on my YouTube channel, how to solve systems of equations, row echelon reduction. It's a lot of processes, so it's a bit more like A-levels, okay? So I really enjoyed linear algebra, and I got 86%, which is a first class. Beautiful, mate. Then it was Algebra 2. And also Algebra 1, there was a really incredible lecturer, Johnson or something like that. I can't remember, like Francis Johnson or something. But he was a cool guy. He used to take the mick out of everyone if he came in late. He would literally stop the whole lecture, say hello to the person, like welcome, and then he would kick them out. So he was a really great guy. And then we downgraded Algebra 2. I don't remember who the lecturer was, but this was a complete mess of a module. Honestly, I can't really remember much of it. But I downgraded, got 63%, which is a 2-1. So from 86 to 63, it's not looking good. Then, Applied Maths 1. So this was like Newtonian mechanics. Now this exam, I could only complete half of it because half of the exam I couldn't be in the exam hall. I'll talk about that in a second. But regardless, even though I completed half of the exam, or I only had half the time to complete the exam, I got 65%, which I'm happy about. That is a 2-1. Then we have, actual Newtonian mechanics. So Applied Maths 1, I think that was like an extension of Newtonian mechanics or something. Oh no, Newtonian mechanics is after Applied Maths. I'm not too sure, but Newtonian mechanics, I love my mechanics. I got 88% in that module, my best performer so far. Yeah, which is obviously a first class. So 88%, I'm happy with that. Then we've got Mathematical Methods 1. I was a bit surprised with my result about this one because I love mathematical methods. So mathematical methods at university is an extension of further maths at A-level. You're looking at fields, you're looking at flux, you're looking at Green's theorem, your double integrals, triple integrals. It is a really cool module. It's all integration and calculus. But I got 80%, which is pretty rubbish for my standards. 80% is a first class, but I'll take it. But then I had a comeback. Mathematical Methods 2. I couldn't tell you what was in it, but I got 88%, which is decent. And that concluded my first year. So in my first year, I had some health issues, which meant that at the beginning, they kind of started some of my results. The analysis 2, the 63% in my applied maths. I couldn't attend the full exam because I couldn't stay in the exam because of things that were going on. But then I went to the doctors and all that stuff. I was put in isolation where I could take the exam on my own with no one else. And that's where my results really improved. So in the end, the way they calculated this is in year 1 is worth 1/9 of your degree, then 3/9 in year 2, then 1/9, 3/9, 5/9. That adds up to 1, isn't it? So yeah. So first year's worth 11%, and the way they calculate it is they average your top 4. Yeah, so my top 4 would have been 88, 88, 86, and 80. So they would have averaged those. Then your worst 4 only count for half, which means in my first year of university, I scored 79%, if I've done my maths correctly when I did it a long time ago. But anyway, moving on to second year. My health was improving, so I'm hoping that my results were a bit better. We shall see. Obviously, things got significantly harder because we moved on to analysis 3, complex numbers. Complex numbers, complex analysis, not complex numbers. And this was horrible. I just remember the examiner being this really cringy guy. I couldn't understand a word of what was going on. This was all like residue theorem. If anyone studied a maths degree would know about the residues and contours, and it was grim. It was grim. But I still got 61%. I'll take it. I'm not an analysis human being. So some students, they love analysis. I don't understand how their brain works. But 61%, 2-1, I'll take it. I did minimal revision for that. Then we get to Algebra 3. I love algebra. Further linear algebra. I can't tell you what was in it, but I scored 89%, which is my highest performing module so far. Fluid mechanics. Now, I told you guys I love mechanics. Fluid mechanics, I didn't like the lecturer. It's never an excuse, guys, to say you don't like the lecturer, but obviously I was young. They call me Gramps in it, but I was young. I wasn't feeling it. So yeah, I didn't perform the best there. I got 62%, which is a 2-1. Really poor performance from myself. Then we get to my favorite modules, Mathematical Methods 3, 85%. I couldn't tell you what was in it though, 85% being a first. Then we got Algebra 4, groups and rings. So groups and rings, group theory, I couldn't tell you much about it. Groups and rings as well. I actually can't remember taking this module, but it was the same lecturer, that Francis guy from Algebra 1. So it was good fun being in the lecture, but I didn't enjoy it at all, and I couldn't tell you what it was about. I got 67%, which is a high 2-1, but for my standards, that is pretty poor. Then we got Mathematical Methods 4. Methods 4, my favorite thing to do. I got 83%. Now, these mathematical methods, in terms of mathematical computations, this is really extreme. Really, really difficult stuff. But yeah, I'm very happy to score 83%, which is obviously a first in something like that. Then we got probability and statistics. Now, I will never forget probability and statistics because, I mean, at A level, probability and statistics, I would say is quite easy, okay? And there's nothing hard about probability and statistics at A levels. But at university, it's completely different, yeah? This was the worst module I've ever sat in my life, okay? So in the lectures, I would say it was fine, probability and statistics theory. But the exam, the lecturer just turned into a demon, yeah? I don't know what he was thinking, but he basically ruined the lives of many, many students because most of them failed. Luckily, I was not one of them. I did that module and I was very happy that I did not have to repeat it again. And my final module of the year was number theory. Number theory was good fun. We're talking about modulo, so mod P, cyclic number systems, Fermat's little theorem, all of these kind of modules. I think it was good fun. The lecturer there was Dr. Roberts, if I remember correctly. He was a cool guy. He was just a proper nerd, but he was a really sweet guy, innit? And in that module, I got 89%, which is great. So this is my joint second highest module with Algebra 3. So I would say in second year, there was a lot more variance. I had some super high scorers, 88, 89, 89. but then some really abysmal scores, 61, 62. But in second year, the way they average is they take your best 6, average those, and then your bottom 2 averages half. So with all that being said, I averaged, I think it was 77%. So 79% in my first year, 77/78% in my second year. Now going into my third year, this is where things changed a lot. So in my first and second year, I lived out. In first year, I was in halls. Second year, I was living with my boys. There were 6 of us in Camden. It was a madness. And I didn't actually go to any of my lectures. I went to some if I liked the lecturer and if my boys were going. But I'll be real, guys, I was not the best of students, okay? So I didn't do any work during the year. I spent most of my time watching South Park, in the gym, eating chicken, and that's it really, maybe sleeping and that. I didn't party, didn't do any of that stuff. I went boxing, but yeah, that whole lifestyle wasn't for me. I didn't like lectures. As you know, as I mentioned before, I had some health problems, so I couldn't even attend lectures because there was too many people and I just couldn't be in that environment. So yeah, first 2 years, I barely attended any lectures. And in my second year as well, I was in isolation. I think, was I in isolation? Maybe. I actually can't remember. It was a bit of a blur. But anyway, going into third year. So going into third year, I just broken my leg again. I just had surgery. I was in a cast, crutches for most of the year, but I was living at home. Because I was living at home with my mum, she would make sure that I was up every day going to university. So I actually attended every single one of my lectures, okay? So it was a bit of a different period for me, yeah? Obviously in third year, UCL, maths degree, the maths is getting intense now. But I could choose all of my modules. In second year, I could choose 4, I think. First year, I had to do all of these modules. Actually, yeah, in second year, I chose Algebra 4, Mathematical Methods 4, Probability and Statistics, regret, and Number Theory. But yeah, in third year, I could choose all of my modules, okay? Which means you would think that I should be performing highly. So, my first module, Galois theory. Now, anyone who knows maths, if you don't, well, if you haven't done a maths degree, do a bit of research about Galois. He was an absolute badass. He was a young mathematician, I think like 18, 19, and just started proving all these crazy things. And then he died at like 21. So he's actually like one of the GOATs. I would say Galois, probably one of the smartest mathematicians to ever live. It was a great module. This was with Dr. Roberts, who I mentioned before, who did number theory with me, but I got 83%. Then we got geophysical fluid dynamics. Now I really like the lecturer here, GFD, geophysical fluid dynamics is more of a physics module. And you guys know I love my mechanics. I got 87% in this module, which is decent. I'll take it, first class. Then one of my favorite modules, biomathematics. So looking at the mathematics behind biology, in this module, we were studying things like how do birds fly? You know, looking at the vortices created when they flap their wings and all this stuff. We looked at why when you wear boxing gloves, you can punch harder. We learned about ischemic attacks, so Bernoulli's theorem, so looking at pressure of blood flow within the neck and how someone will die if there's not enough blood flow to the brain. So this was a really cool module. And in this module, because I loved it so much, I scored a beautiful 93%. So my first module where I got over 90%, and I'm pretty sure, if my memory's correct, I topped the class in that module. So nobody beat me in biomathematics. Yep. Then we get to probably the hardest module in degree level maths, Mathematical Methods 5. So you guys see a running trend here. I would always pick mathematical methods as something I wanted to do. This was all about fields and stuff like that. I got 88%, which is, in my opinion, if I must say so myself, was pretty decent. That was top of the class for sure. Nobody managed to beat me in Mathematical Methods 5. Then we've got Mathematical Ecology. Now, I distinctly remember that during Mathematical Ecology, someone came round with their camera, taking pictures of people at UCL in their lectures. And I'm gonna see if I can find it. Hopefully I can find it, but there is a picture, hopefully you're seeing here, where you can see me looking really bad in an ecology lecture. Now, ecology is just looking at the study of animal kingdoms and how they interact with each other in the world. Yeah, so solving differential equations, coupled differential equations, really cool. I don't really remember the full contents of it, but I got 81%, which is a first class. I will take it. The next module, elliptic curves. Now, elliptic curves, I actually can't remember anything about it, but elliptic curves look like this. Yeah, like this. I'm pointing, but I can't remember exactly what the context of elliptic curves was. But regardless, I got an okay 74%. Then the next one, logic, mathematical logic. Now, this wasn't the toughest of modules, in my opinion, but the proofs in it were abysmal. So some of the proofs, I can't remember what the name of the proof was 5 pages long. And I had to remember that proof for the exam. But mathematical logic was a great module overall. The lecturer was amazing. It was this Greek dude, really nice guy. Really caring. He reminded me of, what is it, Joe Bear in the Big Blue House? That big bear, that's what this guy reminded me of. So, logic, mathematical logic, I got 92%. So my second highest scoring module so far. So then finally, this was a fun module, accounting for business. So we were supposed to take a module outside of maths. Everyone just went for AFB, accounting for business, which was pretty fun, I would say. You're learning about balance sheets and liabilities and assets and just making the books work. Then you have to read this book, do a test, you have to do a group project, all that stuff. You know, all in all, I was pretty happy with that. I got 79%. Not the best, but, well, I say that, but 79% is a first. But yeah, third year, they averaged everything. So everything in third year is averaged equally. And when you average all those, I got 87% in my final year, which meant when you do the weighted average, first year getting 79%, second year getting 77%, and third year getting 87%, which is crazy. Usually people go down as the years go by. I went up, I guess I went down then up. Yeah, overall in my degree I scored I think 83%, but some geek in the chat will be able to verify that. So yeah, that meant that I got a first class honours from the fourth best university in the world at the time. Not anymore, it's still top 10, so I still rate it, innit? MIT are always coming first at the moment. But yeah, that is it, guys. That's my degree. If you have any questions regarding my degree, you could put them in the comments, but